I have got a hectic 48 hours ahead. Hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. You find me in Portugal in a random petrol station, standing next to the Sport Classe SPC 03. I'm here because I'm going to be doing a recce for our next on-the-road driving tour. If you don't know what I'm talking about, earlier this year, Tony and I launched our own driving tour business called On the Road. Our first event this year was in Spain, our second event is here in Portugal in September, and I've come to triple check the road routes, visit the lunch stops, firm up the hotels, things like that. To do so, I needed a pretty cool car to use, and yes, my friends at Sport Classe pulled through with this. This is kind of like their Resto-mod, but there's a bigger and better story than that. We're going to get into it because, as I say, I've got the keys to this thing for actually just over 48 hours, and I've got like 1,000 kilometers that I need to do in that time period. So I need to stop talking to you right now. I need to jump into this thing, hit the road, go explore Portugal, and check out this quite insane looking little car. Well, you join us some 100 kilometers down the road, and we have just arrived in the Douro Valley region, one of the most beautiful parts of Europe, let alone Portugal, world famous for its wine. As you can see, we're actually just crossing the Douro River right now. Funny enough, last year, during one of our trial driving tour events, we came right here to this town. We stopped off in a little sort of salad bar on the high street. It worked out really well, but now that this is a formal business, we're looking to up the ante, so we're going to go and check out a couple of potential lunch stops. We actually kind of know where we're going, but we just want to check out some backup options, because you never know on the day. People's appetites might change. I don't know, anything can happen, so you always like to have a few options up your sleeve. But 100 kilometers in, I'm starting to get used to this car. I haven't got a lot to say, because I've got a lot to explain before I can really start talking about my feelings and emotions, but what I will say is driving a sort of late 60s 911 through Portugal on a 35-degree day, yeah, pretty amazing. I'm getting all the romanticism of exploring somewhere in an old car. It is absolutely glorious. But anyway, let's go and find lunch and a coffee, because it was a 5 a.m. flight. We'll get into the car a little bit later. This is Quinta São José do Balelar. I really struggle with Portuguese. It's a tough one as a Brit. This is a very nice new hotel, which, as I say, I think is definitely going to be one of our lunch stops, and I think might be an overnight stop on a future tour, because it is stunning up here. And I have to say, out in the sunshine, this midnight blue paintwork is also looking amazing. Oh, this thing is so cool. Anyway, we now have quite a big slog ahead of us. We're going to stop off at coffee somewhere else, and then we've got a 3 or so hour drive, which we're checking some of the roads on, to one of our hotels. So yeah, a chance to really get a bit more to grips with this beast. Thank God this air conditioning works. Now this is why we do recces. We've just been on this incredible pass through the Parque Natural do Alvao. I don't know if doing the accent is slightly, you know, cultural appropriation and inappropriate. Anyway, I'm giving it my best shot. Beautiful national park. We believed that we should be turning right just a moment ago on a hairpin, and it was definitely what's called a dirt track, which obviously is incorrect. So I don't know why it's telling us to do that. I'm looking at Poppy from On the Road Tours, our employee. Hello, Poppy. I don't know why it's telling us to go there. We're using this new app for On the Road Tours called Tour Boss. It's an amazing sort of all-in-one app for driving events. Loads of manufacturers are using them for their press events. Other driving companies are doing similar. It's really good, but you have to obviously manually input all your routes, and that's gone wrong because we should be continuing along here. I'm looking now at our route, and we continue. Parque Natural do Alvao. That's the British pronunciation, isn't it? Let's go. Well, you find us some 150 kilometres further down the road. We've ended up on one of my favourite stretches of this year's Portugal tour. It's this beautiful road linking together a whole lot of sections, getting some thumbs up from the locals, and it's the perfect hunting ground for a car like this because you can just flow through everything. It's got me thinking, we need to do a classic on-the-road driving tour because this is such an exceptional experience. Next time I do these roads, we'll all be in modern cars and that will be amazing. It's just a different experience. I have to think about so much more behind the wheel of this thing, including engine temps, but also brakes, just overall car placement and balance. I mean, taking these long sweeps in this thing is so engaging. I haven't necessarily become best friends with this gearbox yet. It's notchy, it's mechanical. I haven't been nailing all the shifts, but that means that, you know, I've got to put some work in, put a shift in. When I do get it right, it is so good. But yeah, I am happy out here in this. Tony would be miserable on a classic on-the-road driving tour, but it would be worth putting him through it just for these kind of moments. This car is glorious. Now, whilst we're out here doing a recce for the upcoming tours, I'm sure you can imagine that's only one small part of planning and putting on a driving tour, and actually a small part of running a driving tour business. It's quite full on. I think Tony and I maybe underestimated just how much work was going to be required, but we have been loving it, and it's been made easier by Odoo, who have very kindly sponsored this part of the video. Odoo got in touch like 2 or 3 months ago, offering to support the channel by sponsoring a number of videos, but I've been using their platform ever since. If you don't know about Odoo, it's an all-in-one management software. It provides a range of applications that simplify the day-to-day management of business, like on the road. It includes invoicing, accounting, project management, inventory management, and website creation. So for example, if we wanted to set up a simple website for the Portugal tour for our customers, it's so easy to do. Use the website configurator and in just 4 steps you'll be up and running. You define the type of site, the industry and your goals, choose a color palette, upload your logo, add the pages and features, and select a theme from a wide range available, and in no time at all you'll have the structure for your website ready, and all that's left is to customize it, which is super easy to do. You can just intuitively drag and drop elements and customize the layout in terms of colors, text, images, and more. You can animate every element of your site. The great thing about Odoo is the first app, like the website builder, is free for life with unlimited hosting and support. After that, it's just 19.90 euros a month. So yes, if you're out there starting a business, running a business, starting a driving tour business, and maybe you're overwhelmed by everything, you want to bring it all into one place, go check out Odoo. I'll put a link below. Thanks to them for supporting the video and aiding things like this recce happening. Well, good morning. Welcome to Pinhel. Stayed here last night in an adorable little hotel called Douro. I'm sure I'm butchering that pronunciation. We were literally the only people in the hotel. This place has only just opened. We arrived and the woman was like, "Which room do you want?" Because they're all available. I'm just going to chuck that in there for now. But yeah, actually, highly recommend, really sweet. If you're doing a driving tour through this region, it's worth checking out. They do wine tastings and things like that, and just really nice people. Anyway, before we hit the road again today, I thought I should probably talk you through this car, because yesterday was so manic, I don't think I really had a chance to do that. So, welcome to, yes, the Sport Classe SPC 03. So, Sport Classe, I've visited them a number of times on this channel. I think they're one of Europe's, but definitely Portugal's leading Porsche restoration workshops. Initially set up by a very famous race and rally driver from Portugal called Americo, I would say Nunez, but I think it's Nunch. His grandson is my friend Andre, and he's kind of responsible for this project. I think I called it a sort of Resto-mod yesterday. It's a bit more of a hot rod than a Resto-mod. Essentially, this SPC package can be applied to any air-cooled 911. It's not like a Singer where I think they all start their lives as 964s. It can be any air-cooled 911. So this started its life as a 911 SC, for example, but some of the later SPCs are 993s, you get the gist. They kickstart by sort of doing a back date with the bumpers and the bodywork. You can have these panels in steel or in carbon fibre. Doesn't tend to necessarily affect the overall weight. They're aiming for around 1,100 kilos, so essentially light. The big flagship thing that you need to know is the engine. This has got a 3.2 litre RSR engine with electric fuel injection. It is a absolute masterpiece. Puts out around 320 horsepower. So yeah, 320 horsepower, 1,100 kilos. You can see why I got so excited by this thing yesterday. They do some other work. Brakes massively improved. It's a really nice feel on the pedal, and they did not fade at any point yesterday, which in a classic is quite nice. Gearbox, they don't actually do too much to the gearbox. They rework it, sometimes pull it apart, try and improve it, but it stays original. A few other tweaks, obviously interior retrim, this beautiful midnight blue paint, central fuel cap, but it is just fettling. That's why I call it more of a hot rod than a Resto-mod that pulls everything apart and starts all over again. So I think they've made 5 or 6 now. This one is a number 3, recently been resold, and well, it's a gem. Oh, Fuchs style wheels we should mention. Just all the goodness, all the nice stuff that you want and expect from a 911 that looks like it's from this period but drives better. So absolutely fantastic, amazing. And now we get to do a cold start in Pinhel, which I think might be a disaster because of the RSR exhaust. Did I mention that? I lose track, who knows. I'm excited. It's another full day of driving this thing through Portugal. We got a lot of meetings. Come on, Poppy, we got to go. Today we are going to be driving on a lot of motorways or highways, so not necessarily as dynamic as yesterday, but that's no bad thing because we're going to be passing through a lot of tunnels. And I mentioned the RSR exhaust this car is equipped with. To activate it, you pull this little toggle here, that out there, valves open. I feel like more fuel gets thrown out of the exhaust as well. We dip a window, and we dip a few gears, and then let all hell break loose. Ready? It's total mayhem. It doesn't quite translate when you're in the car. Every now and again you get like a pop or a backfire or something, but when you catch it on a sidewall or in a tunnel, you're like, oh my God, it's so antisocial. So yes, whilst we are just on these big epic highways and that might seem like it's going to be less exhilarating, with that exhaust, it's definitely not. This car is a riot, an absolute riot. Weirdly looks a bit like California out here, doesn't it? This is a kind of perfect California car. Anyway, let's go find some more tunnels. First coffee stop of the day, we've come to Dona Farinha. This was one of our lunch stops on the trial tour we did in Portugal last year, and it was superb. They do really amazing local Portuguese food. They put out a whole spread over there. It was fantastic, so we're going to come back. We've stopped this morning just to kind of firm up timings and numbers and things like that, and also have coffee. Portuguese seem to like their coffee a bit like the Italians, really freaking strong. Sometimes when I'm travelling and working hard like this, I need 4 or 5 of these to really get going. But no, in Italy and here in Portugal, one of these black tar espressos seems to hit the spot. But yeah, really recommend this place if you're ever passing through the area. I actually have no idea what this town is called. Let me find out. It is Castelo Branco. So if you're coming through Castelo Branco, this place is unassuming from the outside, but yeah, food is fantastic. And they're playing Drops of Jupiter on the sound system, which is a vibe. And yeah, coffee, spot on. One day. This is why recce's are so important. We just went to check out a beautiful and stunning lunch location. It's incredible, sort of 5-star hotel / vineyard. But the route back to the main road is this. Sorry, Andre, if you're watching this. Although, obviously, this car inspired by Andre's grandfather's rallying past. So you can actually even get these SPCs equipped with Americo's like old school rear-facing rally lights. So maybe this is why this car is meant to be, but I'm not sure. Oh my God, all of our customers would love bringing their 296s and GT3s and things like that down this road. So yeah, basically we're bailing on the lunch spot, as stunning as it was. It is not going to work because, yeah, this is, we'll save this for the Dakar and Starato tour, which I'm very keen to organise. Fingers crossed we make it to the next location with all of our bumpers on. Beautiful area though. Oh, tarmac. Very nearly down by the coast now. We've pretty much driven the entire length of Portugal in, I guess, like 36 hours. Find myself on a road that I last drove during the Range Rover Sport SV launch. I mean, that car must weigh, I guess, well over 2.5 tons. This thing just over a ton, so quite a different experience. But yeah, the road is just as good. We're actually just coming down off the best bit. But this car has really won me over today as we hit some dodgy tarmac, because, well, this must be the longest journey that I've done in a car from this kind of era. Okay, fine, it's a bit confusing because this thing started its life as a 911 SC, which means late 70s, early 80s. It's obviously made to look and feel like a car from the 60s. And I guess the only other time I've done a long distance road trip in a sort of oldish car was the Diablo SVR that I drove to Frankfurt. So yeah, doing, well, very nearly 1,000 kilometers to this point, and this thing has been super special and fun. And today has not been about the back roads, because in September we're doing a lot of roads that we did during the trial event last year. We haven't got to retrace them all. Today's been more about the destinations. So we've been doing a lot of motorway miles, as I mentioned earlier today. This thing has really held its own on the motorway. I was expecting it to kind of, you know, fall apart, but it's not. It's been rock solid. We've had the music blasting thanks to this Porsche Classic PCCM Plus. We've got toolbox navigation going. We've been having nice conversations, watching the world go by, and then the minute we find ourselves back out on a twisty, the thing can just absolutely come to life, and it's amazing. Last 5 weeks or so on this channel, I've been filming and driving Ferraris, but we're back in Porsche territory. And I get so intoxicated by these cars because they just do everything. Even if you're in one from 60s, 70s, 80s, or a brand new one like my GT3. So yeah, big win for this car. Well done, Sport Classe. I have slightly been indoctrinated, and I'm kind of thinking, how do I do something similar myself? Look at this section now. Oh yes. Come on, Poppy, get the shots. We're closing on a truck. It's probably time for me to cool off slightly. And you know, we'll continue to head south. We've got a nice cocktail reception waiting for us at one of our hotels by the beach, and I think that'll be very welcome. There's one more special section of road that I'm looking forward to doing before we get there. Nearly 1,000 kilometers then achieved so far in this little car through Portugal, and we're ending day 2. We're in a pretty cool place. A dirt track. But, well, I'm not even going to talk about it. We've not been filming all the places we've been to during this recce, because I don't want to spoil it for those of you that are coming. Actually, in fact, if you're coming on the trip in September and you've been watching this video, stop, because you're spoiling your own trip. We like to keep things up our sleeves, but yeah, as you can see around here, views, everything's stunning, and there is this little sort of off-road section, which in this car is perfect. We're now just triple checking. There's basically 3 or 4 different routes to where we've just been. This car's been a great test car because it actually is very low. If you've got a sort of higher car to do the recce, the problem is they're not always that good a reference to the cars that are then going to come on the trip, but this thing does have quite a low front bumper and good performance, and yeah, I just thought we'd celebrate the rally heritage because we didn't have a chance to do that when we ended up on that other dirt track earlier today. So yeah, okay, continue on down the road to our final destination of the day, and then you'll probably join us again tomorrow morning. I think this feels like the natural ending place for today's sort of part of the trip. We'll see you in the morning for a final recap with this little car. Well, good morning. Third and final day of the recce, and we're starting off with fuel. We've got this kind of race-inspired fuel tank with this central filler position, which is quite interesting because you basically just have to point and squirt. It's not like a modern setup where you have the kind of funnel and stuff. So you've got to kind of keep an eye on things so that the fuel doesn't come flying out the top. I think it's a 50 or 60 litre tank. We've been putting in 35 or 40 litres at a time. It's been getting us like 250 kilometers, I guess, each way. These old school 911s don't have the most accurate fuel gauges, so you kind of have to just do a bit of guesswork. It's not dissimilar to driving my old Ferrari 360 Modena. That involved a bit of guesswork too, so yeah, always a bit of fun. Yesterday was so hot, it got to like 37 degrees, that we stumbled across an interesting, I wouldn't even call it an issue. Essentially, the car was idling exceptionally high. So whenever I knocked it into neutral or we came to a roundabout or traffic lights, it was just kind of revving really, really high. So I messaged Andre and he said, simple thing to do, open up the rear boot where the engine is, fiddle around with a few things, loosen it all up, and you should be fine. Oh, there we go, 41 litres, it's about right. You can literally see the fuel in that tank there. So we are good and ready to go for our kind of final drive today. But let's just check out what he was talking about in the rear. It does give me the chance to kind of show you this incredible RSR engine. Yank that there. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Probably not as clean as it was at the start of the week, but a stunning bit of kit. And he said literally all we have to do is wiggle these bits here, because when they get really hot, they're sensitive and they just get a little bit sticky. So you just kind of literally just loosen them all up, and that should help keep the idle point nice and low. Apparently that was it. So, you know, if you're expecting a Matt Armstrong-esque, you know, mechanic video, it's as good as it gets on Seen Through Glass. I guess that's down. Car needs a clean. I mean, yes. No jet wash here, so that's the other thing we're gonna have to find today. But apart from that, yeah, we've got some more epic roads. We're checking some actual road routes today and a couple more destinations. And I have to say, I'm starting to really, really like this car, so I'm starting to think that it's going to be quite sad to part ways with it. Anyway, I'm rambling, let's crack on. Well, that's it, the end of our recce. We now have to say goodbye to Portugal until we come back in September. That also means saying goodbye to this car. I mean, you're not going to be surprised to hear me say I've fallen in love with the thing. Interestingly, at the start of this adventure, I wasn't convinced. The first few hours, even the first day, I was like, yeah, it's cool, but... And now I'm like, oh my God, I need a 60s 911 or a hot rod 911. Important to say, by the way, Sport Classe built this car like 3 years ago. It's been in private hands ever since. It's just changed ownership. Sport Classe convinced the new owner to let me do this trip in it. It already had 3,500 miles on the clock. It was well used. So it's not like their sort of show car, their press car, their finest example. They literally just threw the keys to me and we're like, yeah, go have fun. We'll collect it at the end, which is outrageous, but also so much confidence in the product. And well, Tony at least was like, you're never going to make it. Like, do not use that car for the recce. You won't complete the recce. At the end of the recce and smashed it. And the thing has just been amazing. It makes me want to come back and drive one of the later Sport Classe SPCs with the carbon fibre panels, maybe a 964 based car, just to see how much they've moved it forward. But all in all, yeah, if you're into this kind of stuff, go check them out. I need to look slightly cheaper, maybe start my own, maybe 912 hot rod. Who knows? Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks to Sport Classe for lending the car. Thanks to Poppy for helping me film. And yeah, I guess see you next week.